Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Nick Vanderlaan. This is part 2 of the video series that I've been putting out regarding Judgment Begins at the House of Elohim. We're going to be looking right now on what date, is it on the Elohim's Assyrian Enoch solar calendar? What date was it 3 years ago when they passed the same-sex legalization marriage bill? I'm not going on that much sleep right now. I didn't get that much sleep. And even last night I was up really late filming, and I already stammer as it is and not getting a lot of rest. There's a lot of ums. This is unedited information, so I'm just going to put it out there because I don't have time to edit it, and I just want to get to you. So if you want the info, please just have patience. Also, guys, it might be best for you guys if you speed up the video speed to like 1.5 or maybe even 2. If you can process it that fast. I'm pretty slow speaking in this message, so you guys can add that. And how you do that basically is just go to your right here, where this little widget right here, and you click on the widget of setting widget, go to speed, normal, and then you can come down here and adjust it to what's best for you. It'll save you a lot of time, and it'll save you, a lot of pain of dealing with all of my things. Here's the 5th day of the month on Elohim's Assyrian. Okay, this right here is my biblical anniversary spreadsheet. Okay, on Elohim's plural. Okay, father and son. Okay, co-creators. All right. Assyrian Enoch solar calendar. Okay, and what I want to share with you about this is that this is a publicly shared spreadsheet. The URL is usually right here. I'll put a link in this video for it. At the time I took the snapshot, there were 4 people who had visited. But what I did was, when I was in Israel, I took all the biblical anniversaries throughout the scriptures that I could find, and also in Jubilees, and also I think in Tobit and the book of Gad the Seer. I'll have to take a look. If there's anything else that's missing, guys, please send me messages. I'd like to add to this. But Elohim's anniversaries are very important to him because they testify of his awesome works, guys, his mighty and awesome works that only he can do, okay? And they attest of his greatness, okay? And so it's important to him. And to have the right calendar to know when these things happen are important to him. Okay, because he deserves all glory, honor, power, and praise. Okay, the Father and the Son. Okay, Elohim. Okay, so what I want to share with you guys is that we're looking for the 5th day or the 6th day. What happened on the 5th or 6th day? Well, like I said, I believe that Joshua's long day was somewhere in here. It never does say when Joshua's long day was. I believe that it happened here. The reason why I believe it happened here is because of the timing of events from the time that they came into the land and defeated Jericho to here. What else is the reason why? Also, the reason why is because this is the time period that Yahweh destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah right after sunrise. Okay, so what I want to share is just a couple days prior in my last video, I showed you a few days back from now, maybe like 5 or 6 days back, was the 40th day of rain, the flood judgment, and it was the last day of the flood judgment. And then here, on this day, on the 1st day of the 4th month, is when Abraham was under the oak tree at Mamre, by his tent, and the angel of Yahweh, I believe, Elohim, showed up, the messenger of Yahweh, I should say, Elohim, Yeshua, okay? I think they called him, the term is like Christophany or something, where Yeshua shows up before, but he's showing up here, and he speaks with Abraham, and he has 2 messengers with him, right? And these messengers are angels, okay? And they have the appearance of men, and they eat a meal together, and then the 2 messengers are sent off, and then Elohim says, hey, should we tell Abraham what we're going to do when we destroy Sodom and Gomorrah? And they decided, I guess they told, Elohim told, I believe it said we, Elohim told, I don't think they were talking in the singular. I think that they were talking in the plural. And so Elohim told Abraham what he was going to do, and Abraham pleaded with him for Lot's sake, 50, 40, 10, 20, 10. And he wouldn't destroy it for the sake of 10. 10 righteous men weren't found there. The angels left that afternoon, but it doesn't say anywhere in the book of Jubilees, anywhere in any other writings on when Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed. They left on this day right here in the afternoon sometime on the first day of the 4th month. Okay? And so that's why I had it here, here, here. I've been putting videos out between the 20th, or the 21st, excuse me, to the 24th. 21st to the 24th. Okay, guys? That's when I had this here. And it just so happens that the day before the ruling was made public and released to the people of the United States of America, possibly, highly possible that it's Ephraim. Okay? Again, check out Tim Foster's work on that. Other people have done a lot of work on it as well. Again, the blessings, the end times blessings that Israel put on his sons possibly show the U.S. as Ephraim. So anyways, and I lean that way. The Western European peoples are either two peoples. They're either a lost tribe, descendants of the lost tribe of Israel, the northern kingdom, or we are Japhethites. Either or. We're not Edomites, okay? And the Black Hebrew Israelites are either two peoples that I've narrowed it down to. They are either Canaanites or Israelites, okay? So, like I said, when the two witnesses show up, we'll know, okay? So, for sure, we'll know for sure. Won't be a debate any longer, okay? And I'll have some more information on that, other information that might support the Western European peoples being. Guys, check out and read the Declaration of Abroth. In it, it's a letter from the Scots to the Pope back in like 1320 or 1340. And they go ahead and talk to the Pope about their history as a people. And what's so interesting about that is it talks about how they came from like the region of Scythia, right above the Black Sea area, and then they came back through the Tyrrhenian, they sailed through the Tyrrhenian Sea, which is right out of the coast of Italy by Sicily, through like the Straits of Gibraltar, where they were there among the most savages of savages in Spain, and then they went up to Scotland. Now, this happened in 20 or 40. This was like 100 years before the slave trade, the African slave trade had started into Portugal. So this is like 100 years before that. And these guys, these Scottish guys, are telling this to the Pope, their history, saying that they're descendants of the Israelites. Why would they be lying to the Pope? The Pope has all the information. They have all the secret hidden history of the whole entire world. Okay, so to me, you know, that's something to consider, guys. Go check that out for your information. And the Scots are the same peoples as many of the Irish, and the same peoples as the English, many of the British, okay, many of the Dutch, okay, many of the Belgium and Western French, and the northern Spaniards, guys, the Basque people. So check that out. It's just interesting information. You know, again, I haven't made one decision or the other, so check that out. But anyways, so getting back to this about what happened here. Okay, so these guys, all right. But I have a question about what are they doing, writing a Pope this and telling them that the Scots are telling them that they're descendants of the Israelites. Why would they lie to the Pope if they're trying to get favor with the Pope? The Pope has all the history. That makes no sense at all to me that they would do something like that, okay? So here we go. Okay, so this, guys, is what I want to talk about. So these got the two angels that were with Elohim here when he appeared to Abraham. Maybe El Shaddai. I don't know if he appeared as El Shaddai. I don't know if it says he appeared as El Shaddai. That means God Almighty. But he appeared to him, and the two men that were with him, they were in the form of men at the time. So I had a quick question. I didn't know if the two angels teleported or physically walked the 85-kilometer journey from Mamre to Sodom, where Lot was at. And so I had thought if they left here and they teleported, they would have got in that night, and yeah, judgment would have happened the next day. It would have rained fire and brimstone. Is there any verses, people, about, hey, the angels came? We know that as soon as Lot left, the angels arrived, and Lot, it doesn't say what day the angels arrived. So if they teleported, it would have worked here, but if they didn't teleport, they walked, because they were now in the appearance of men when they had come here, you had to see that they were, it would rule out this day, okay? And the reason why it would rule out this day is because there's no way you're walking 85 kilometers during the daytime at this time of the year in Israel. It's so hot in that area. And actually, I know this because right before we left, one of the last things we did was we revisited, my family, we visited Qumran. Here's Jerusalem, here's Qumran right here, okay? And there is Nahal Kidron, which comes right by the city of David, and it flows out down a slope and empties out here. So when the kings would burn all the idols and everything else, and all the blood sacrifice, it would go into the brook Kidron, and it would flow all the way down here into the Dead Sea. Pretty interesting understanding, share with you guys. But anyways, I asked the tour guide here, who looked like he had some hiking experience, and he actually does. I asked him, I said, hey, I want to hike this route to know what it's like to walk from Jerusalem to Qumran through this. And people do this, but he told me, I don't remember clearly, but he said it might have taken us at least 2 days, 2 full days of walking to get there in that heat because of how hot it is. And so this right here, I believe he said, was like 35 kilometers. So like 20 miles, I think, somewhere around there. I'm not sure. I know 85 kilometers around 53 miles. And Mamre was over here by Hebron. And Sodom was down here, right down here. So for the angels to walk down here, that's almost like 2 or 3 of these, guys, maybe 2.5. I don't know how far they're walking, but so this is 85-kilometer journey. So this is how I got this date of the 24th, because they would have to walk like 20-something kilometers per day in that heat. That's not 20 miles per day. Yeah, 20 kilometers per day. A little bit more than that to get there through wadis. So it might actually be longer than 85 kilometers because they're walking, through wadis, zigging and zagging. So it could be longer. But anyways, this date seemed like a good day for me. And then I looked here, and it's when Ezekiel had received a vision from Yahweh in Babylon captivity to address the rebellious house of Israel, guys. Who's the rebellious house of Israel? Well, who's the head of that house of Israel? It's Ephraim. You need to watch my video on the judgment of the drunkards of Ephraim. I think that's what, I don't know what I renamed, I don't know what the video is, but guys, I go out there and I explain it and I line it all up. It's this slide right here. I line it all up, how the gay pride parade started with the U.S. and it spread like an infection disease throughout the whole world. 150 gay pride parades this month in major cities in the U.S. and across the whole world, guys. The crown of the head of the Fat Valley is San Francisco. Guys, they're drunk with wine, and And this is wine country, guys. Go ahead. I know I'm just zipping through it right now, but you need to take a look at the video. I laid it out there, and we can go into it a little bit here maybe at the end. But anyways, back to it. So I think, guys, this is bad news when I saw the information. This is almost like a 3-year anniversary. So let's just say that, let's talk about this for a second, okay? Let's just use, now that I'm doing this video, let's just say it was the 26th, which is the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th day of the month. 6th day of the 4th month. Okay, let's go to the calendar. The 6th day of the 4th month is June 25th. Okay? So, my question for you is this. Okay? If you start here, and this is the beginning of a, if this is the beginning of like a point, and then you come all the way around, that last one, that last day of that cycle is going to be the completion of that 3rd cycle. And so this was done 3 years ago. And that means that the 5th day of the 4th month, so now I'm having a little bit more understanding as applying this information, sharing it with you guys. That means the 5th day of the 4th month is the last day of that cycle. And so that's just something to think about. You can look at it that way, or we can look at it the way of the 5th day being the day that the decision was made. And it's going to happen on a 5th day, because that's actually how Yahweh does a lot of his things. They all happen on the same time, and it's the same day to address the rebellious house. Ezekiel is called to address the rebellious house of Israel. Guys, this is a major warning. These patterns that I'm seeing. I've talked about keeping the commandments of Elohim, and I've had so many people that are getting familiar with my channel, getting familiar with my message. My message has been the same message. It's the same message that I live in my life, okay? And it's keeping, having faith of Yeshua and keeping the 10 plus 1 commandments, okay? The 10 commandments, okay, it's the royal law, okay? The 2 commandments that Yeshua summed up, he said, love Elohim with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength. You do that by keeping the first 5 commandments. Love your neighbor as yourself. How do you do that? You do that by keeping the second 5 commandments. The Sabbath day is part of that first commandment. Now, a lot of people go, oh, we can't keep it. You know what? Yeah, he says to keep it. If you love me, keep my commandments. He used the word keep, okay? But maybe, okay, just for you guys out there to appease some of you guys, maybe it'd be better word be follow, okay? So I follow his commandments, and I'm instructing you guys to follow his commandments that he says to do. Because you know what? Sometimes I don't attest that I've kept them all 100%. I fail. We fall. There's a war going on between the spirit and the flesh. And you know what? And a lot of times the flesh wins, okay? But that's when we confess our sin to him, because we have an advocate, and he's faithful. And when we do confess our sin, he's faithful and just to cleanse us of our sin, and he's faithful and just to cleanse us of our sin and forgive us of our sin and cleanse us of all unrighteousness. Okay, so that's the verse, I believe, and that's how this whole thing works, guys. Faith without works is dead faith. Okay, you guys could say, oh, I get comments, oh, I love him, always, I love God, oh, this and that, but I'm not keeping his commandments. Well, that's lip service, guys. Lip service. Okay, he says, if you love me, do this. What is this? Keep my commandments. Same thing that Yahweh Elohim, and I believe there were 2 people on Mount Sinai, the Father and the Son, when the 10 commandments were given. And I believe, okay, they're Echad, guys. They are Echad, but it's Father and Son, okay? They are united. And I believe that if you read the 10 commandments, he stops halfway through. He says that there's generational curses on those who hate him, but there's loving kindness, and that's to the 3rd and 4th generation, guys. Okay? and there is loving kindness, okay? And hallelujah. It's only to the third and fourth generation, right? So hallelujah. With me and my house, it stops with me. But I know my grandfathers, and I know the works that my grandfathers. Anyways, it stops with me, okay? Me and my house, we will serve Yahweh, okay? So this is a message to you guys, okay, about choose whom you're going to serve. Are you going to serve your own imagination of what you think God is like? Or are you going to do what Yeshua said, which is very simple? He said, if you love me, keep my commandments. In 1 John it says, his commandments are not grievous. Okay? So, it's his 10 plus 1 commandments. Okay? That's all we're called to do it. And when we fulfill it, this is the law and the prophets, okay, are summed up into these things. I had a comment on this, guys, and the guy he's so blind because he's saying that the law and the prophets hang on these commandments, guys, in the summing up of these 2 commandments. Love God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength, and love your neighbors yourself. This is the law, and this is summed up in the law and the prophets. And I said, if someone doesn't speak, it says in Isaiah, if a watchman or just a prophet or somebody like that, if they're not speaking according to the law and to the prophets, there's no light in them. If they're not speaking to the 10 commandments in the 7th-day Sabbath, there is no light in them. Okay? It says this in the scriptures. Okay? Go read 1 John. All right? Go read 1 John, the whole chapter of 1 John. Okay? Says that if you don't keep the commandments, you're a liar and the truth does not, keep his commandments, or you're a liar and the truth is not in you. Okay? So go, listen, okay? I'm not being legalistic here, okay? I'm preaching to Christians who've heard this saved by grace message, which is true. And I don't deny that we're saved by grace, okay? We are saved by the blood of Yeshua HaMashiach and his completed work that he did. But, no buts, okay? Wrong word. And he says if you are forgiven, he taught that if you are forgiven much, you love much. So if you've been forgiven, you love your master. But love, okay, that word in Hebrew, love, ahava, okay, I don't know, it's an actionable word, okay? So what we have to do is to show it. How do you show your love? Oh, I love you, honey. Let me do the dishes for you. Or I love you, honey. Let me take out the trash for you. Okay? Or let me do this or that. Right? You show love through action and deed. Not through, I love you, honey. I'm going to sit on my butt. Okay? Do nothing. Watch you do everything. Okay? So let's be real about that. Okay? That we have to show our love through actions and deed. That's why Yeshua said, okay, who has been forgiven much, loves much. And he said, if you love me, keep my commandments. Okay? I don't know how all you people out there who want to fight me on this and who want to fight the Ruach, you're not fighting me, you're fighting Elohim on the truth. How come you guys want to go out here? How can you read the Bible? How can you read the Bible when it talks about, how can you read Psalms? How can you read these Psalms? You just go over it and just pass on. Oh, it means nothing to me because we're not keeping the commandments, so I don't have to do any of this. Guys, it's the path of life. Okay? They're good. All right? They teach us how to live. Okay? They're a schoolmaster. Yeah, they bring us and they show us the things that we missed. And now, you know what? Now that we have the Ruach, we can pass the test, right? Now we can recognize what sin is and have victory over that sin, okay? And when we, like I said, when we fail, because we fail a lot in our flesh, we confess our sin, and he's faithful and just to forgive us and cleanse us of all unrighteousness, okay? An advocate to the Father. So, we'll see what happens, But like I said, I can't give you all this information that I'm giving you about the calendar dates, giving you all this information about linking Isaiah 28 to Jeremiah 49 to 51, okay, and not give you this truth, all right? We can go through Isaiah we can go through all of that again. Okay, and this is not legalistic. That's a lie saying legalistic. It's not legalistic. I want to do it because I love him, because he said, if you love me, do this. So this is how we show our love. You know, the United States, Christianity, it's a rebellious house. And that's just what the scriptures say. It's following just like the scriptures say. Ephraim would be a rebellious house. Look, Ezekiel was told to address the rebellious house of Israel. And guys, I firmly believe judgment's coming. And judgment isn't going to be coming from, I don't believe it's going to be coming from Russia. I don't believe it's going to be coming from there. This is going to be a strange work that I talked about here. Okay? This strange work that's going to happen. Where's that verse at? Oh, it's going to be strange. Okay? It's going to be a strange work where he's going to appear. Okay? Come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers, and shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself as it were for a little moment, until the indignation be overpassed. For behold, Yahweh cometh out of his place to punish. Yahweh's coming out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity. The earth also shall disclose her blood, and shall no more cover her slain. And then here it says, for Yahweh, okay, shall rise out, okay, rise up. This is the same. Yahweh cometh out, Yahweh shall rise up, as in Mount Perazim. I believe, see, Sodom and Gomorrah's judgment. He shall be wroth as in the valley of Gibeon, Joshua's long day, that he may do his strange work and bring to pass his strange act. It's going to be like out of nowhere. And it's going to be literally him doing it. Okay? Judging. All right? So, and who's the judgment on in Isaiah 28 for this? This is on Ephraim, guys. What I believe to be, and many believe to be, that fit the type for the United States of America. You should watch my video if you haven't watched it, guys. I brought you through all of this scriptures and I linked it up. Isaiah 28 and later on Jeremiah 51. I linked it up. And what are they going to be judged for? They're going to be judged, guys, for... Okay, guys, so that's the end of part 2 of this segment. It's not really broken up, but it was just a long thing that I have to split up. In the next part 3 that I'll be putting out faster this time because it's already done. I've looked through it. We're going to be getting into the judgments of the drunkards of Ephraim again, Isaiah 28, some other very important information that's pretty critical for many of you. So take a look for part 3 shortly.